Stay tuned for Airgun Detectives.
Welcome to a special episode of Airgun Detectives. Our 1911 series continues. I'm your host, JC. Today we get to take the mystery out of the Sig Sauer 1911 We the People. This is kind of a unique finish on this one, that's for sure. But before we get started on this, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button down in the corner. It doesn't cost you anything, it's absolutely free, but it really helps support the channel. And I want to keep doing what we're doing here. Also, if you have the opportunity, check out my website, www.airgundetectives.com. On that site, I've got these 1911 t-shirts, which is kind of appropriate for our 1911 series, and some other different ones. I've got some hats, and I have our Generation 2 bipods. So check that out when you have a chance. I am occasionally liquidating some of my personal inventory on there too. Actually, some of you guys have taken advantage of that. So check that out when you have a chance. Anyway, back to our Sig 1911 We the People here. It is one good-looking 1911 pistol. But once again, what is this? This is our KWC Foundation. One of the best realistic 1911 replicas out there. Really is. And it's neat how the different companies kind of put their special touch on it. And this one is obviously the We the People. Does take the same 12 gram CO2, shoots the 4.5 millimeter or .177 caliber BBs, has a full dropout magazine, which the CO2 goes into there, and then the BBs, this has a slide obviously on the front just like the rest of them, and you load your BBs in here. And this holds, I believe this holds what, 16, 17 rounds. Anyway, this is an all metal construction. This also is the full blowback, which is nice. So you can see this has the full blowback. I like that because it's the most realistic, that's for sure. But the unique finish on this, it's got a weathered finish. And there's a total of 50 stars on this because it represents, if you'll see, it says We the People on one side. The other side, it's the Sig Sauer, and it says 1776. So this is actually a replica of the genuine 1911 We the People firearm. They actually make a real one that looks just like this. But anyway, as I was saying, the grips, there's 25 stars on each of the grips for a total of 50 stars, which is kind of cool. This does, decock that. This does have the 3-dot sights. You can check that out right there. And they're actually nice and bright and bold, so it makes it easy to shoot. It's got the skeletonized trigger, which is kind of neat. It's pretty cool. The gun weighs about 2 pounds, a little over. And it's so solid, especially even with these metal grips. And the grips actually feel really good in the hand. The stars actually give it kind of a textured grip to it, that's for sure. Overall, the gun's about 8.5 inches long, and it's got about a 4.5 inch barrel, and it's a smooth bore barrel because it's shooting, once again, BBs. They claim this shoots around the 300 feet per second, which is pretty standard for the KWC type foundation. And you guys have saw, we pretty much featured every one of those on our review here. But anyway, let's go play with this one. Let's go see how this one performs, because it certainly looks good. There's no question about that. But how well does it shoot? Let's find out. Stay tuned for the next segment. All right, let's test the Sig We the People for some velocity. We'll shoot 5 shots over the Crony. It's not really a warm day. Probably in the, I'm going to guess the high 60s right now, maybe 70. And let's see how well it does over the Crony. All right, shot number 1. 315. Shot number 2. 309. Shot number 3, 307. Shot number 4. That was an error. Starting to get a little dark, but let's go ahead and we'll shoot another one. 299. All right, that's close enough for an average on that. But yeah, the typical KWC, shooting right around that 300 foot per second range, right there. So, not disappointing at all, that's for sure. All right, let's move on to the next segment. All right, let's test our Sig We the People out for a little accuracy here. We're gonna go ahead and use our 8-inch splatterburst targets. You guys know how well I like these because they really show our impact point. I'll leave you a link down below for them. They're pretty cool, for sure. Also, we're just going to be shooting some standard 5.1 zinc BBs. It's your standard zinc BBs. Now I'm going to take 5 shots and we're going to test this for grouping. We want to see how it groups. So we're going to be shooting at our usual 32 feet, 10 meters. Go ahead and take a quick look. And let's just see how we can make this group. All right. So once again, 5 shots. Let's just do the best we can. Now that's a good group. Anyway, just you notice that slide kind of stuck on that first one. This is pretty new. I don't have many rounds through it, so it actually smoothed out. But you can't complain about that group. Just remember, there's much more to accuracy than just laying this thing up there and pull the trigger. It's trigger control, it's your breathing, it's making sure you're holding the gun on target nice and smooth. So if your targets at home don't look quite as good as mine, they will in time. You just got to practice. But trigger control, your breathing, your eyesight, you got to hold that gun steady. That's for sure. Anyway, that's our grouping. I'm pretty impressed. So let's move on to the next segment. All right, let's do a trigger test on our We the People here 1911. This is that KWC foundation, so I'm sure the trigger is going to be pretty good. But let's test it out. We got our trusty Lyman trigger gauge here. Get that set, clear, set, make sure we're ready to go. All right. Okay, that was 4 pounds, 5.5 ounces. 4 pounds, 5.5 ounces. Good trigger, definitely a good trigger. All right, let's move on to the next segment. All right, once again, my favorite part. Let's do a little plinking with our Sig, We the People. Now I put some, as accurate as this was in the accuracy test, I figured let's challenge ourselves, put a little smaller targets up, so we're going to go ahead and do that. If I don't hit them all, don't blame me. It just happens. But we're the same distance that we were shooting with the accuracy test. What are 10 meters, 32 feet, what have you. Go ahead and take a quick look. As you see, I got a cart set up there. I got some shotgun shells, some aluminum cans, some other little containers. And we'll just do our best. We're going to start at the bottom row. I think we'll start at the right side, work our way left, and then we'll hit the top row. So, wish me luck here. All right. To the right. Well, I'd say we did pretty good. One shotgun shell on the bottom gave me a little trouble. I was kind of missing that one, but the rest of the targets, I'd say we knocked them out pretty well. All right, let's move on to the next segment, wrap this up. All right, let's wrap this up with our conclusion here. Well, how do you guys think our Sig did? Our We the People version? Excellent, of course, excellent. But like anything else, let me tell you what the negatives are. My negatives, my personal negatives on this. And you know me, I'm extremely picky. I still, even though they shrunk this down and it's not obnoxious up on the slide, I don't like these little white warning labels. It just kind of takes the realism away from it. But fortunately, I can work on that and get rid of it. And I am still, I promise, by the end of this series, I'm going to give you an episode in which I'm going to show you how to field strip these 1911s, these KWC foundations. I'm going to show you how to field strip it. I'm going to show you how to customize grips. And then I'll give you some hints on removing the white lettering and doing some of that too. And then I will show you how to reassemble the gun. I won't leave you hanging. So anyway, we're going to cover that in one of our episodes. So, you know, stay tuned for Airgun Detectives. Anyway, as far as this gun goes, let's talk about the positives. The positive is I love the KWC foundation and the full blowback. You just got to love it. And this one had a real crisp, sharp blowback. It was real obvious, really fun to shoot, to be honest with you. I love the all metal. I love this weathered finish on it. We've got our ambidextrous safety here, which is really nice. These grips are awesome. They're all metal, but with the stars on them, you gotta like that. This has the really nice, the really nice and bright 3-dot sights, so it's a great sight picture for you. I love, once again, we have our dropout magazine, which includes the valve in the magazine. That's pretty nice. So this feels really great in the hand. And again, I covered it, but I like the fact the KWC Foundation, it's fully strippable. So you can take this thing apart, customize it, do whatever you want. There's really not much that you would do with this one, because right out of the box, I mean, it's awesome. Even the warning label is so small, it's pretty insignificant, but I had to come up with some negative because it's really tough to come up with negative. Overall, our performance was good. We had good velocity. And accuracy, oh my God, was our accuracy good on this one. And that's what happens. Some of these will just be a little bit better than others, and it's just the luck of the draw, which one you get out of the box. And this one pretty much shot at point of aim, which you got to like that, because they do have fixed sights or non-adjustable sights. So if it's shooting at point of aim out of the box, you lucked out, that's for sure. It's usually got to compensate for that just a little bit. But what a great gun. It really is. I like it. I like the feel of it. I like the looks of it. Plus, I like the whole theme of the We the People. So without a doubt, 5-star gun. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Airgun Detectives. Don't forget, this is where we take the mystery out of the air gun. So until next time, I hope you and your families are all doing well, and I hope you're getting lots of shooting in. So take care and God bless.